Hi, my name is Daniel, and this is Draw My Life. When I was born, I was soon tested for a disease called Huntington's disease because there was a possibility I inherited the mutated Huntington gene from my mother. This disease is inherited in an autosomal dominant fashion, meaning that an individual only needs to have one copy of the dominant gene to be affected by the disorder. My mom is a carrier of the disease, which means that she has one copy of the dominant gene, and there was a 50% chance she would pass on that gene to me. My dad is homozygous recessive at the HD locus, so he is not affected by the disease, and there was a 100% chance he would pass down the recessive allele. With my parents, the probability of me having the disease was 50%. The test came back positive, confirming that I did have Huntington's disease. This diagnosis did not really affect me. I was like other kids. I played outside with my friends, went to school, and had a relatively normal life. I graduated high school in 2002, and shortly after, I got married to my wife, Peyton. We have had a great marriage, and my disease has not been a problem until recently. When I was 32, I started slowly showing symptoms of the disease. My fingers started twitching involuntarily, and I started having problems walking due to balance problems. I was also diagnosed with depression and noticed myself getting irritated more easily. Since we got married, my wife and I have talked about wanting to have a family. Knowing that there is a chance that I will pass on the disease, I started doing some research about how the gene works and the likelihood of me passing it down. I learned that the disease is caused by a repeat of CAG on chromosome 4 in the Huntington gene. People who have Huntington's disease have 36 or more repeats of the CAG region of the Huntington gene. During translation, the gene encodes for the protein Huntington. The mutated gene has an area with repeating glutamine. The specific role of Huntington is unknown, but it has some role in the nervous system. The mutation in this gene causes the protein to fold in on itself and essentially causes it to become toxic and start attacking brain cells. The more repeats you have, the more severe the disease is due to a different expression of the disease. At this point in our lives, my wife really wanted to have kids, but I was too scared of the possibility of them inheriting the disease, so we decided against it. After consideration, we revisited the possibility of having kids, and I started researching. I discovered that advancements have been made that allow you to select an embryo that is not a carrier of the dominant Huntington gene. The embryos are developed in vitro, and any embryos that do not have the genetic mutations consistent with Huntington's disease are put into the uterus to develop. This process is called pre-implantation genetic diagnosis and is an option for us since I am heterozygous for the disease. If I was homozygous dominant, this would not be an option because I would have a 100% chance of passing down the gene. This was great news because we could finally have the family we had been dreaming of. But it is very expensive, and it kind of feels wrong to be choosing between our potential kids. But it also feels wrong to have kids normally, knowing that there is a possibility that one of them would be born with a fatal disease. We decided to go through with pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, and I was given the great news this morning that the pregnancy test came back positive. We will hopefully have a healthy baby in the near future. My wife and I are ecstatic that we may be able to have the family we have dreamt of. As for me, my disease has slowly gotten worse, and I hope to be able to spend as much time with our new baby as possible. I have begun to look at new treatment options, and I have applied to be a part of some experimental trials. I have found an experimental trial that looks interesting. Antisense oligonucleotides, which are modified DNA pieces, are used to turn off the Huntington gene and prevent it from making the Huntington protein. This effectively silences the gene and can reduce the effects of Huntington's disease by reducing the levels of toxin produced. I applied to receive the gene silencing therapy, and I hope it will be approved. Until then, we have a lot of work to do in preparation for our baby.